G'day everyone, I'd like to introduce Kenichi. He is a globally recognized SEO expert based out of Japan. With nearly 2 decades of experience, he's a leading SEO educator in Japan, running one of the country's most popular WordPress-powered SEO blogs. His deep understanding of search engine algorithms combined with his hands-on experience with WordPress has made him a trusted authority in the field of SEO. I'd like to welcome Kenichi. Round of applause.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my session. I'm Kenichi Suzuki. I'm from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm thrilled to be here with you all today. As I said, I'm from Tokyo, Japan, but I absolutely love Australia. It's my favorite country. In fact, this is my 5th time visiting Sydney, and it never disappoints. Yep. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself a little more. I'm a Google product expert in the Search Central Help community, and I've achieved Diamond status, which is the highest level in the program. And I'm incredibly passionate about helping people understanding how Google Search works. And I'm excited to share some of my knowledge with you today. I'm also an SEO blogger. I've been writing articles every day for almost 20 years now. My blog is one of the most popular in Japan's SEO community. And it's built on WordPress, of course. Back when I started my blog 20 years ago, WordPress wasn't nearly as popular as it is today. The most widely used CMS back then was movable type, or MT. Has anyone here ever heard of movable type? Anyone? Oh, cool. So I'm guessing most of you haven't even heard of it. It's a little bit relic now. Anyway, I'm proud of myself choosing WordPress all those years ago. Okay, let's get started. Here's what we'll cover today. First, we'll explore how to help Google discover and understand the image on your website. This is crucial for getting your images to show up in Google image search and improving your overall visibility. Next, we'll discuss how to optimize your images to enhance the user experience. We'll look at techniques to make your images load faster and look their best, which will keep your visitors happy and engaged. Finally, we'll examine how to monitor your image traffic using Google Search Console. This will help you track and see how your images are performing in search results. Just a few things to keep in mind as we go through this session. The techniques we'll be discussing today can be applied to any platform, not just WordPress. So even if you are not using WordPress, you can still benefit from these tips. Some WordPress platforms, themes, and plugins might already have some of these image optimization features built in. Yep, that's a bonus. While we'll be focusing on best practices, remember that some WordPress platforms might have limitations that prevent you from implementing everything. Okay? Let's start by thinking about why people use image search in the first place. What are they hoping to find? There are all sorts of reasons. Sometimes people want to see what something actually looks like. They might be searching for a product they are thinking of buying. Or maybe they want to see a picture of a place they are planning to visit. Other times, people are simply looking for beautiful products or photos. They might want to use these images as inspiration for their own creative projects. or maybe they just enjoy looking at beautiful things. Have you ever had the chance to visit Japan in early spring? Anyone? No? Oh, someone. Oh, cool. It's the season in which the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, and they're absolutely breathtaking. I promise you, it's an incredible sight. After hearing this, you might be curious to see what they look like. So you do a quick image search for cherry blossoms in full bloom Japan. And here they are. And they're stunning. These days, people also use image search to get ideas and inspirations. For example, if someone is redecorating their living room, they might search for living room ideas to see what other people have done. So as we've, and of course, many people use image search to find products, clothes, and food. The screenshot on the right shows image search results for takoyaki. There are fried dough balls with octopus inside. A popular Japanese street food. If you ever visit Japan, give them a try. I'll bet you'll love them. So as we've seen, people use image search for a wide variety of reasons. It's a powerful tool that can help people find information, inspiration, and products. Now let's talk about where image search, where your images can actually show up on Google. Of course, there are Google Image Search, which is specifically designed for finding images. But that's not the only place. You'll also find images within regular web search results. Google often includes images in the results when it thinks they might be helpful to the user. So even if someone isn't specifically looking for images, they might still come across yours. And have you ever noticed that Google Discover often features an image in each of its cards? That's another opportunity for your images to get seen by a wider audience. All right, let's dive into the heart of our topic today. That's image SEO. We'll start by looking at how you can help Google discover and understand the images on your website. This is the foundation of successful image optimization. The simplest way to help Google find your images is to use standard HTML image elements. Google can easily find images that are placed within the src attribute of an img tag. Think of it as giving Google a direct link to your images. On the other hand, Google doesn't index CSS images. If you're using CSS to display images, Google might not be able to find them. Another important point is that your images need to be embedded directly into your web pages if you want them to be indexed. If you have images that are only linked from other pages, Google might not be able to find them. Make sense? The good news is that WordPress automatically uses those img tags when you insert images using the block editor. So you don't have to worry about that thing. Now let's talk about alt text, ALT, alt text. This is super important for image SEO. Why? Because Google relies heavily on alt text to understand what your image is all about. Alt text is also essential for accessibility. Screen readers use alt text to describe images to people who are visually impaired. So it's really important to include alt text for every image on your site, except for purely decorative ones. Take a look at the second code example on the slide. I can't read that. You should never stuff your alt text with a bunch of keywords just because Google uses it to understand images. That is called keyword stuffing. And it can actually penalize your website. Never do that, okay? Now look at the third example. This alt text is not table. ALT equal puppy. This is not table, but it's not great either. It's just too general. You want to write something more descriptive, like the last example on the slide. Let me illustrate this with a quick exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Please close your eyes, okay? When I say puppy, what do you picture? What do you picture in your mind? Puppy. I bet the puppy you imagine is quite different from the puppy the person next to you is imagining. But what if I say Dalmatian puppy playing fetch? Dalmatian puppy playing fetch. Okay, open your eyes, please. Now I expect everyone here has a pretty similar image in mind, like the puppy on the slide. That's the power of descriptive alt text. Think of alt text as the words that replace the image when someone can't see it. It should be a clear and concise description of what the image shows. You might be wondering if Google uses AI to understand images. They do, but as far as image search is concerned, it's still not perfect. Google can probably tell a kangaroo from koala, but I doubt it can tell the difference between a kangaroo and a wallaby. It's difficult for us, even for us, right? That's why writing descriptive alt text is so crucial for image SEO. It helps Google understand your images and show them to the right people. Make sense? When you are using the blog editor in WordPress, it's super easy to add the alt text to your images. Just look for the alternative text field and type in your description there. However, if you are still using the classic editor, never leave the alt attribute blank. You won't believe this, but I really love the classic editor. That's what I started with when I first got into WordPress. And honestly, it just feels like home now. Since I'm a kind of a tech geek at heart, I actually enjoy being able to see all the HTML code while I'm writing. I feel uneasy when using blog editor. Besides alt text, Google also uses your page titles to understand what your images are about. Page titles are also those headlines that appear in search results, like the screenshot on the slide. A clear and engaging title can really grab a user's attention and make them want to click on your image. So, having good page titles is important for getting more traffic from image search. If you are interested in learning more about writing effective titles, Google has some great resources available. They've published detailed guidelines on best practices for title links in Google search. I highly recommend checking them out. You might have already noticed that Google uses the text on your website, on your web page to understand your images. Here's even more evidence of that. The caption you give an image and the text around it also help Google figure out what the image is about. Think of captions as a little explanation that go with the image, kind of like alt text. But unlike alt text, captions are visible on the page, usually above or below the image. Adding a caption to your image in the blog editor is super easy. Just open the image editing menu, and you'll find the option to add caption right there. Your image file names can also give Google a little bit of extra information about your image. But keep in mind, it's just a small hint. Alt text, page titles, and captions are way more important. So if you can, try to use file names that actually describe what the image is about. For example, instead of img105.jpg, use something like swimming-koala.jpg. Another way to help Google find your image is to help something called image sitemaps. It's basically a list of all the images on your website. By submitting image sitemaps to Google, you are giving them a map to all your images, including ones they might not have found otherwise. I won't get into the nitty-gritty details of image sitemaps here, and as it can get a bit technical. But if you are interested in learning more, you can check out the URL on the slide. If you're not a tech-savvy person, don't worry. You can head over to the WordPress plugin directory. I'm sure you'll find some helpful plugins there that can create image sitemaps for you automatically. Here's a really neat feature you might have seen in Google image search: badges. See those little badges that say recipe? Google adds those to images that come from recipe content. It's a cool way to help people quickly find the kind of recipes they are looking for. When you tap on an image with a recipe badge, you can get a bunch of extra information about the recipe, like ratings, cooking time, and even the ingredients. These are called rich results, and they make image search even more helpful. Pretty cool, huh? And here we have badges for products. They look like little price tags, right? Just like with recipes, product images can also show rich results. These give you extra details about the product right there in the image search results, like the price and whether or not it's in stock. This can be really helpful for online shoppers. Okay, so now you are probably wondering how you can get those cool badges to show up for your images in search results. First off, badges are currently available for recipes, products, and movies. If your website focuses on any of these topics, I definitely recommend setting up badges. It's a great way to make your images stand out. To get badges, you will need to add some special code to your website called structured data. It's basically a way of organizing information on your pages in a way that Google can easily understand. This shows what recipe structured data looks like. I'm just showing a portion of the code, not the complete version. If you are comfortable with a bit of code, you can add structured data manually. But don't worry, you don't need to be a coding expert to do this. The easiest way is to use a plugin. You'll find plenty of plugins in the WordPress plugin directory that can generate structured data for you. I won't recommend any specific one, but there are lots of good options out there. And if you are a developer, you can write code to generate the structured data dynamically using JavaScript or PHP. Just remember that there are guidelines for structured data, so make sure you follow the guidelines. You can find all the details in Google's documentation. Once you've added this structured data to your pages, you can use the Rich Results Test tool to make sure everything working correctly. And you can also monitor the status of your rich results in Google Search Console. I'll talk about it later. As I mentioned, you can use the Rich Results Test tool to validate your structured data. You can keep track of how your rich results are doing in Search Console, Google Search Console. If you are thinking about using structured data on your WordPress site, I highly recommend taking a look at this documentation listed here. It's got all the information you need to get started. All right, let's move on to another important aspect of image optimization, user experience, or UX. We'll explore how optimizing your images can make your website more enjoyable and user-friendly. Google Image Search supports all the image formats you see listed on this slide: BMP, GIF, SVG, JPG or JPEG, PNG, WebP, and AVIF. To make sure your images show up in search results, stick with these formats. You'll notice that WebP and AVIF are highlighted. I'll talk about it, why those are particularly important, in just a bit. Image files can be pretty big, and large image files can slow down your website. Nobody likes slow website. It can be really frustrating for your visitors. For example, take a look at this photo of the Opera House. I took this picture myself. It's a JPEG file, 4,032 pixels wide and 2,268 pixels high. The original file size is 2.07 megabytes. That's pretty big. One of the easiest ways to reduce the size of your image without sacrificing too much quality is to compress them. When you compress an image properly, you can shrink its file size dramatically without really noticing any difference in quality. Look at the second row in the table, second row. JPG compressed. I took that big 2 megabyte JPEG photo of the opera house and compressed it down to just 552 kilobytes. That's a 73% reduction. Technically, there was some quality loss, but it's practically invisible to the naked eye. Now check out the third row, WebP. When I converted this same JPEG photo to the WebP format, the file size got even smaller, almost an 80% reduction. And the best part is that WebP preserves image quality really well. But the real star of the show is AVIF. When I converted the photo to AVIF, it shrunk down to the tiny 217 kilobytes, a massive 90% reduction. That's incredible. There are tons of plugins out there that can help you compress and convert your images. And those are definitely helpful. But my personal favorite tool is Squoosh. Squoosh is a web app developed by Google that's really good at compressing images and converting them to whatever format you need. I highly recommend giving it a try. WebP and AVIF are newer image formats, but the good news is that most modern web browsers like Chrome, Safari, and Edge already support WebP. According to the Can I Use website, all major browsers now support WebP. So you can start using WebP images on your website without worrying about compatibility issues. Until recently, AVIF was only supported by Chrome and a handful of other browsers, but things have changed. Just like with WebP, most modern browsers now support AVIF as well. This means you can start using AVIF images to get the best possible compression and image quality. Okay, now for a bit of not so great news about AVIF. While WordPress allows you to upload WebP images, it doesn't currently support uploading AVIF format. To use AVIF images on WordPress, you'll need to upload them to your website servers using an FTP or your server's file manager. Hopefully, the WordPress developers will add AVIF support soon. We are all keeping our fingers crossed for that. While most browsers now support WebP and AVIF, there are still a few out there that don't. To make sure those users still use your images, still see your images, you can provide a fallback option using the picture tag with the source tag, like in the example on the slide. Here's how it works. First, if a browser supports AVIF, it will load the AVIF images. Second, if it doesn't support AVIF but support WebP, it will load the WebP image instead. And third, for all the browsers that don't understand the picture tag or a source tag, they'll simply load the JPEG images specified in the IMG tag. You might need this fallback if you have a lot of visitors using older browsers. Personally, I don't use this on my blog because most of my visitors are tech-savvy and use modern browsers. But it's something to consider depending on your audience. If you decide to use a fallback for your images, you can add the code directly into the custom HTML block in the block editor. It wouldn't make much sense to send a huge image to a smartphone with a small screen, right? Sending oversized images just slow down the loading time, which is bad for user experience. That's where responsive images come in. Responsive images are a way to make sure your website delivers the right size image for different devices. When someone visits your web page on a desktop computer with a large monitor, they'll get the largest version of the image. But when someone visits on a smartphone with a small screen, they'll get a smaller version. This helps your pages load faster and provides a better experience for everyone. Here's a quick example of what the code for responsive images looks like. I won't get into all the technical details here, but if you are a developer and want to learn more, be sure to check out the documentation linked on the slide. If you are not technically inclined, don't worry, WordPress has you covered. When you upload images using the WordPress editor, it automatically takes care of creating responsive images for you. Good for you. You don't have to do a thing. And you don't have to understand this code. WordPress automatically creates this on the background. Now let me introduce you to a really cool techniques called lazy loading. Normally, when you visit a web page, your browser starts loading all the images on that page right away, even the ones you can see yet because they are farther down the page. Lazy loading is different. It only loads images when you are about to see them as you scroll down the page. This means the top part of your page loads much faster because it doesn't have to wait for all those other images to load first. In the past, you needed to use JavaScript libraries or plugins to set up lazy loading, but not anymore. There's a new HTML attribute called loading that makes lazy loading super easy. All you have to do is add this attribute to your img tag, like you see in the example on the slide. Most modern browsers support this native lazy loading feature, so you can use it with confidence. Here's some good news. If you are using WordPress 5.5 or a newer version, lazy loading is enabled automatically for any images you upload directly to your posts or pages. We can see that the attribute has been inserted into the final HTML. So you don't need to do anything extra to take advantage of this performance boost. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, and you've learned all the essential techniques for optimizing your images for Google search. Now, how can you track your progress and see how well your optimization efforts are paying off? Google Search Console is your friend. If you set the search type filter to images in Search Performance Report, you'll get a ton of useful data about your images, like how many clicks they are getting, how often they appear in search results, and what search queries people are using to find them. One important thing to note is that you can't track image search traffic with Google Analytics. It lumps image search traffic together with regular web search traffic. You cannot separate them. All right, everyone, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope you found it valuable. Don't underestimate image search. It's a great way to drive traffic to your site, and it's often less competitive than regular web search. Plus, it can really enhance user engagement. I hope the techniques and tips we discussed today will help you boost your image SEO and attract more visitors to your website. Thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. If you'd like a copy of the slide, you can download them from the link or the QR code on the screen. Enjoy the rest of WordCamp. I hope you have a fantastic time. Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you very much for your presentation. Are you around all weekend?
No, I will go back to Japan tomorrow night. Yeah, because I need to go to Google India next week. Yeah.
So, quick hands up. Who here has changed the way they think about images after this presentation?
Oh, cool, thank you.
Almost everyone. That's great to see. Now, we've got some time for some questions. We've got lunch up very shortly. So, hands up, questions. I'm going to start over this side and we'll come back.
Okay, so if you had a website that would not really benefit from having their images being indexed, would you encourage that they're not indexed? And especially if you haven't optimized them.
Sorry, would you rephrase? I can't understand, sorry. Would you rephrase?
Basically, if you would recommend that you wouldn't index your images in some cases.
Would you recommend not indexing your images if they're not important on the website? Or would you suggest that all images should always be indexed?
Okay, I see. It depends on whether or not you put importance on traffic from image search. But say, so what kind of image do you have on your website, for example?
Yeah, I guess they're more like stock images to like make the website pretty. So I guess not relevant, maybe.
So the most of your images don't have a special meaning to user. Okay, in that case, I wouldn't recommend image optimization. Yeah. So if your image is unique and special and have a lot of meanings to the user, you should focus on image optimization. Yep.
Hey, yeah, great presentation. I was just wondering with the alt text, title text, and the caption, do you see any downside to having the same text for all three if it's optimized the right way?
I don't think there is any downside unless you put many keywords in that. Yes, so it's perfectly fine. You use the same text in the alt text and caption. There's no problem. Yes, it's better to give Google as much text as possible. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, if I can, one more. With like, if you're going through a website migration, would you say redirecting, if the URLs are changing for images, would you say it's worth redirecting every single image if it's important?
Yes, if you migrate your website, it's important to redirect images as well. Yep.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I just wanted to ask you about alt text. And for example, if I sold paracetamol, like Panadol, and I have a photo of someone with a headache, and just put the alt text man with headache, would it be good to actually add paracetamol to it as well?
What's
So
paracetamol?
medicine. So for example, if I'm selling medicine for headaches, should it be good to actually add to the description of the photo that's man with a headache, something along the lines that headache medicine?
If I were you, I use the word. So think of it like this. You can use any text in alt text unless you are not trying to manipulate Google. Yep.
I think we have time for one more question. Right over the other side.
Amazing presentation. Thank you so much. It was very informative. I have a question related to design. So sometimes when design dictates that the same image looks different on mobile, so it's cropped differently, hold differently. So it has to be another image, but it's the exact same image with the exact same alt text. Would that affect SEO if I have like, my only option would be to show and hide based on responsive design? Would that affect having the exact same image, but it's like slightly cropped?
Okay. So the overall content is the same, but the size or shape are a little bit different, right? Okay. I don't think that would be a problem. It's perfectly okay. You have the same image or similar images on, so even on the same page. It's perfectly fine.
Hi. When using, like, say, Geo-Imager, and you're adding keywords and addresses and some data, does converting it to WebP, does that strip the data?
Would you repeat that?
When converting images from JPEG into WebP, does that strip out the image metadata, like all the JPEG image data, the EXIF data? Does it strip that out, or does it remain?
It's difficult. If you don't have any problems with the current JPEG image, I don't think you need to convert JPEG to WebP, because there's no difference between image formats. But if you decide to convert current JPEG to new WebP, please keep in mind that Google takes longer time to recognize the change. So I wouldn't recommend changing formats just for image optimization, image SEO. But if you think it's better to convert images for UX, you can definitely do that.
That's about all the time we've got. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.